There are lands that still carry the memories of time, where mountains whisper tales of millions of years, and rivers echo the remnants of a lost world. This is North America, a continent shaped by ice and fire and ruled by giants. Creatures powerful enough to sculpt entire landscapes, whose very presence makes the earth tremble, ... and whose spirits are wild and unyielding. But then ... another species emerged, one capable of altering the fate of an entire planet. This is the story of a fateful encounter between immense power and ultimate fragility, a journey into life, loss, and the struggle for survival of the last giants. They are symbols of strength, embodiments of the wild, the bison, the bear, giants who once ruled North America with primal power. They survived the Ice Age, endured the harshest winters, reigned atop the food chain, but they could not withstand one force ... us. We pushed them to the brink of extinction. We carved their territories apart with concrete and asphalt, and yet, we may be their only hope for survival. This journey will take you to the intersection of destruction and renewal, of despair and hope. To answer one question, what future awaits these great creatures? In a world shaped by human hands? They don't just live on the prairie, they are its architects. Like the giants of the Ice Age before them, bison are a keystone species, powerful agents of change. Every action they take, no matter how small, helps weave the complex tapestry of life around them. Their grazing is far from random. They favor certain grasses, preventing these dominant species from taking over, and giving wildflowers and other herbs a chance to thrive. Their dung is a rich source of nutrients returned to the soil. Even their dust wallows, created when they roll in the dirt to rid themselves of parasites, become bare patches that offer ideal habitats for pioneering plants and burrowing insects. To rule a harsh land requires perfect design, and the bison's body is a masterpiece of evolution. Weighing up to 900 kilograms, it is the largest land mammal in North America today. When the harsh winter retreats, it brings with it the promise of rebirth. For the bison herd, spring is not just the return of lush green pastures. It is the most sacred moment in their life cycle. After a 9-month pregnancy, the mother bison seeks out a quiet place to fulfill her natural duty. This tiny being, weighing around 25 kilograms, is the future of the herd. The bond between mother and calf is formed instantly, through every lick and every whisper of instinct. They are called red dogs because of their distinctive fur color, a shade that helps them blend into the spring landscape. But this world is not always gentle. The calf must race against time. Within hours, it must be able to stand on its own legs. Within days, it must be strong enough to keep pace with the herd. Because danger is always lurking, and weakness is an open invitation to death. Summer brings abundance, but also ignites a primal fire. This is the rut, the mating season. The air is filled with the scent of earth, grass, and a symphony of testosterone. The bulls, usually solitary, now become aggressive and unpredictable. They neither eat nor sleep, driven by one singular purpose: to pass on their genes. They roll in dust and urine to create a signature scent, a declaration of strength and readiness to battle. These confrontations are not merely acts of violence. They are rigorous tests, battles of strength and will, where only the strongest and most resilient bulls earn the right to mate. Every clash is a gamble, and every victory is a promise for the species' future. As the summer fire fades, another urgency creeps into the air. Autumn becomes a race against time. Nature's command is clear: eat, and eat relentlessly. Every blade of grass, every reed is a treasure trove of energy. The bison must build a thick layer of fat beneath their skin, a vital fuel reserve to endure the coming cold. Their light summer coats are gradually replaced by dense winter cloaks. This is the decisive phase. A bison that enters winter in good condition stands a chance at survival. A weak or underfed one faces an almost certain death sentence. The entire herd shares one goal, a wisdom passed down through countless generations: prepare. And then, the ultimate test arrives. Winter in North America offers no mercy for the weak. It is a brutal trial of endurance. Confronted by winds that can freeze flesh in minutes, the bison herd becomes a living fortress. They huddle tightly, using their massive bodies to shield one another, minimizing heat loss. They don't fight the storm. They accept it and endure it with iron resolve. When hunger strikes, they reveal one of their most remarkable adaptations. Their massive heads, powered by strong shoulder muscles, become natural snowplows, clearing the snow to access the food beneath, food that most other species have long abandoned. But even with such perfect adaptations, winter always demands a sacrifice. Only the strongest individuals will live to see the spring sun. Life and death intertwine in a ruthless but necessary cycle, one that ensures only the most resilient spirits of the prairie survive to continue writing their story. Before we continue the story, let's pause for a moment. Try to imagine a world we've lost, a world just over 150 years ago. It was a North America with a different heartbeat, one shaped by the pulse of the prairie. The first explorers had no words to describe it. In their journals, they wrote of a sea of life, a rolling brown river. It's estimated that between 30 and 60 million bison once roamed this continent, more than the entire population of the United States at that time. For thousands of years, they were a source of life, the cultural and spiritual center for Native American tribes. They were the true wealth of the grasslands. Their existence seemed eternal, an inexhaustible resource, but that was a deadly illusion. By the mid-19th century, a doctrine known as manifest destiny had spread across America. It claimed that European settlers had a mission, even a God-given right, to conquer and civilize the entire continent. And the most powerful weapon to fulfill that destiny was the railroad. The iron horse pierced through the isolation of the grasslands. It didn't just carry settlers. It brought with it a market for hides and tongues. Most importantly, it delivered a means for industrial-scale killing. The Transcontinental Railroad split the great bison herds in two, forever severing their ancient migration routes. The iron horse opened one of the darkest chapters in the history of this species. The hunt turned into a massacre. It began like a flood. Thousands of professional hunters poured into the grasslands. They weren't hunting for food. They hunted for profit. A single bison hide sold for $1 to $3, a considerable amount at the time. Within just a decade, from 1870 to 1880, millions were slaughtered. Their methods were brutal and efficient. A skilled marksman could kill over 100 bison in a single day without moving. They would simply take the hide and the tongue, a delicacy, and leave millions of pounds of meat to rot under the sun. But behind the economic incentive was a darker military strategy. The U.S. government realized that to control the Plains tribes, they had to destroy their source of life. To the Sioux, Cheyenne, and Comanche, the bison was their supermarket, their cathedral, their everything. Destroying the bison was a calculated act of war. And then silence fell. The thunder of millions of hooves ceased. The roars of the bulls no longer echoed. By 1889, the tragedy was complete. From an ocean of 60 million lives, fewer than 550 individuals remained in the wild, mostly hiding deep within the remote interiors of Yellowstone. The soul of the prairie was nearly extinguished. One of the greatest wildlife slaughters in human history had ended, leaving behind a vast emptiness and a haunting question. Is there still hope? In the deathly silence that engulfed the grasslands, a faint heartbeat remained. A flickering flame refused to be extinguished. Hidden deep in the remote valleys of the newly established and nearly inaccessible Yellowstone National Park, the last wild bison herd on Earth had found its final refuge. By 1894, an official survey found only about 200 bison in the park. Across the entire continent, including those in private enclosures, the total number was fewer than 1,000. The soul of the prairie had become a ghost. Extinction seemed inevitable. But even in the darkest of nights, a spark of hope can still emerge. Change began in the most unexpected places. William Hornaday, who initially set out to hunt bison for museum specimens, was horrified by the devastation. From a hunter, he transformed into one of the most passionate advocates for conservation. Forward-thinking ranchers like Charles and Marion Goodnight in Texas rescued orphaned calves, laying the foundation for the southern herd that still exists today. They were cattlemen, but they understood the value of heritage. And in the corridors of power, a strong voice rose. President Theodore Roosevelt, who had witnessed the disappearance of wildlife, joined Hornaday and others to establish the American Bison Society in 1905. Their goal was bold and seemingly impossible: to bring the bison back. Their mission was like a modern-day Noah's Ark. In 1907, a special shipment left New York. It didn't carry cargo or passengers. It carried 15 of the most precious bison in the world, donated by the Bronx Zoo. Their journey was a reversal of history. The Iron Horse, the very machine that once brought destruction, now became a vessel of salvation, returning the last survivors to their homeland. At the Wichita Mountains Wildlife Refuge in Oklahoma, a new land was dedicated to them. When the 15 pioneers stepped off the train, it wasn't just the release of a few animals, it was the beginning of a revival. From those 15 pioneers, and through tireless efforts across the country, a miracle happened. From the brink of extinction, the bison returned. Today, from fewer than 1,000, there are now over 500,000 bison living across North America. Once again, they shape the landscape, sow life, and restore the heartbeat of the prairie. This is recognized as one of the greatest conservation success stories in human history. Looking at them today, it's hard to believe we once came so close to losing them forever. Their return is a powerful reminder of the fragility of the natural world, but also a testament to the astonishing resilience of life and the power of human will when we choose to act. The story of the bison is far from over. The work continues. Today's challenge is not just about increasing numbers, but about restoring their ecological role and cultural heritage. Native American tribes, who never lost their connection to Tatanka, are leading the way in bringing them back to ancestral lands. Bison are not just animals. They are a symbol of resilience, a living proof that even the deepest wounds can be healed. That destruction does not have to be the final chapter. They are a living promise, written in grass and soil, that when we work with nature, we can mend the mistakes of the past. The soul of the prairie, once a ghost, has truly come back to life. In the wildest corners of North America, there exists a presence far beyond that of an ordinary animal. It is a phantom of the forest, a legend whispered around campfires, a primal force that has endured here for millions of years long before humans ever set foot on this continent. Its footprints are a declaration of power. Its claw marks are the signature of a sovereign. Its very presence shapes the fear and reverence of all other living creatures. The bear family of North America is ruled by 3 extraordinary members, each a testament to the wonders of adaptation. Most widespread and adaptable is the American black bear. Opportunistic and clever survivors, they thrive in ancient forests and even on the edges of human towns. They are masters of concealment and adaptability. More majestic and powerful is the brown bear or grizzly. A symbol of untamed strength, they can weigh over 600 kilograms and reign over mountains, rivers, and vast territories with unquestioned authority. And at the edge of the world, there is the polar bear, the largest bear species and the largest land carnivore on Earth. They are the phantoms of the Arctic. Highly specialized hunters evolved to survive in one of the harshest environments on the planet. They are true omnivores. From berries, roots, and insects to large prey, their ability to exploit every available food source is key to their survival. And beneath that hulking exterior lies remarkable intelligence, a talent for problem-solving, memory, and learning. Each species is a king, perfectly crafted to rule its own realm. The black bear, sovereign of dense woodlands. The grizzly, ruler of open plains and wild rivers. The polar bear, undisputed master of the frozen sea. In the journey ahead, we will delve into the private lives of each species. How do they hunt? How do? In the bear family of North America, if the black bear is the opportunist, then the grizzly is the uncrowned king. Its name grizzly evokes fear and an untamable strength. To understand this creature, we must first understand its kingdom. These are not temperate forests or suburban edges. The grizzly's domain is the wildest land left on the continent, towering mountains, icy rivers, and primeval forests where nature's law still reigns supreme. Here, the grizzly does not just live, it rules. The body of a grizzly bear is a declaration of power. Its most distinctive feature is the large hump on its shoulders. This is not fat, but a solid mass of muscle, providing tremendous strength to its forelimbs. A single swipe of its paw can break the spine of a moose or kill a rival. And its weapons are these claws long as a man's fingers. Unlike black bears, they're not made for climbing. These are living pickaxes, perfect for digging dens, tearing into the earth for roots, or ripping prey apart. They are the tools of a ruler of the ground. The grizzly's strength is near legendary. It can outrun a racehorse over short distances and is stronger than 5 men combined. This body is a survival machine honed to perfection. But a king cannot rely on strength alone. Adaptability is key. The grizzly is a consummate omnivore. Its diet shifts with the seasons and availability. In summer and fall, they spend hours gorging on berries, gaining vital sugars. Their claws become garden tools, digging for nutritious roots and tubers. They also don't overlook protein-rich caterpillars hiding under rocks. But when opportunity knocks, their predatory instincts awaken. They are fearsome hunters, capable of taking down large animals like moose or caribou, especially the young or weak. For a mother bear raising cubs, a meat-rich meal like this can mean the difference between survival and death during the coming winter. Yet no feast in the grizzly's kingdom compares to this one. Every year, a great migration takes place. Millions of Pacific salmon, following a primal call, return from the ocean to the rivers of their birth. For the grizzly, this is the river of life. For a few short weeks, these usually solitary bears come together. An unspoken truce is formed when food is abundant. Each bear claims a spot and a method of fishing. There are the patient ones, the opportunists, and the true masters. They can consume up to 40 kilograms of fish per day. The enormous calorie intake from salmon fat and protein is vital, enabling them to build the fat reserves necessary for the long hibernation ahead. This is not just a meal. It is an ancient ritual, a great transfer of energy from ocean to land, with the grizzly bear as its most crucial intermediary. After the summer feast, a profound change begins. Cold is coming, and the grizzly prepares for one of nature's most astonishing survival feats, hibernation. For 5 to 7 months, they will not eat, drink, or defecate. This is no ordinary sleep. It is a controlled state of suspended animation. Their heart rate slows dramatically. Body temperature drops to conserve energy. Incredibly, their bodies develop a mechanism to recycle waste into protein, preventing muscle loss. In the darkness and silence of their warm dens, the kings of the wild slip into the great sleep, waiting for the sun to return. Their bodies will rely entirely on fat reserves built from salmon and summer berries. It is a flawless strategy, a final testament that the grizzly is not just a symbol of strength, but a master of survival. In the frozen expanse of the Arctic, where life must dance on the edge of survival, there is one animal that reigns supreme: the polar bear. A giant cloaked in white, shaped by ice, solitude, and relentless cold. To survive in this world, you must adapt or vanish. And no creature has adapted more magnificently than the polar bear, the great adapter of the North. This is a story of evolution under pressure. The polar bear, Ursus maritimus, is not just a bear that lives in the cold. It is a bear sculpted by it. Descended from brown bears thousands of years ago, polar bears have undergone one of the most dramatic transformations in mammalian history. Their bodies, their senses, their behaviors, everything about them whispers the secrets of survival on a land made of ice. Their white fur, often mistaken for camouflage, is actually translucent. Each hair scatters light, making the bear blend seamlessly with its snowy surroundings. Beneath this fur lies a layer of dense undercoat and a thick sheath of fat up to 11 centimeters that insulates against Arctic temperatures that can drop to -50 degrees Celsius. Even their black skin plays a role, absorbing what little warmth the pale northern sun provides. But adaptation isn't only about warmth. It's about movement, hunting, and staying alive on shifting, dangerous terrain. The polar bear is a master of ice. Its paws are enormous, each one acting like a snowshoe, spreading weight over thin ice and giving traction. Tiny bumps and ridges on their foot pads help grip slippery surfaces, while sharp claws anchor them during climbs and hunts. Unlike their forest-dwelling cousins, polar bears are marine mammals, creatures of the sea as much as the land. They are powerful swimmers, capable of paddling for days across icy waters. Their nostrils close automatically underwater. Their bodies float effortlessly thanks to the thick fat layer. Some individuals have been recorded swimming over 100 kilometers without rest, driven by hunger, instinct, and the endless search for food. And here lies the core challenge of their lives: food. The Arctic is a land of scarcity, no fruit-laden trees, no fields of berries, no roots or insect colonies. Here, a polar bear's survival hinges on one thing: the hunt. Their primary prey is the ringed seal. These sleek marine mammals live beneath the sea ice, surfacing only briefly through breathing holes or to haul out on the frozen surface. The polar bear's hunting technique is ancient and patient. It involves waiting sometimes for hours, even days by a breathing hole in absolute stillness. And then, at the right moment, a lightning-fast strike. One blow from a polar bear's paw can break the skull of a seal. Sometimes they stalk seals resting on the ice, using the landscape as cover, crawling slowly, methodically, then charging at the final moment in a burst of speed and power. Each successful hunt is a life-giving event. A single seal can provide tens of thousands of calories, especially the blubber-rich in fat and energy. The bear consumes it first, leaving behind the leaner meat for scavengers like Arctic foxes and gulls. But in this frozen kingdom, failure is frequent. Polar bears can go days, even weeks, without a proper meal. During these times, their adaptations shine again. Their metabolism slows. Their bodies feed on stored fat. They become living examples of efficiency machines tuned not only for power, but for endurance. Yet the Arctic is not a frozen desert year-round. In summer, the ice melts. The great hunting grounds break apart. Seals become harder to catch. Polar bears must make a difficult choice: stay on dwindling sea ice or move inland, where food is scarce and competition high. Some venture hundreds of kilometers in search of carcasses, bird eggs, or even human settlements. These are times of hardship. But for females, summer marks the beginning of something more profound: the preparation for new life. After mating in spring, female polar bears undergo a remarkable biological pause. The fertilized egg doesn't implant right away. Instead, her body waits, monitoring her condition, judging whether she has enough fat to carry a pregnancy. Only if she's strong enough will the embryo begin developing. Come autumn, the pregnant female digs a den, usually in snowdrifts or earthen mounds, creating a chamber insulated from the brutal winds. Inside, she enters a deep hibernation, not unlike that of her southern cousins. For months, she does not eat, drink, or defecate. Her body sustains itself and the growing cubs purely from fat reserves. In the heart of winter, deep in the den, tiny blind cubs are born, no bigger than a guinea pig. Warmed by their mother's body and nourished by her rich milk, they grow in silence and darkness. When spring returns and the sun warms the Arctic again, the mother emerges weak, thinner, but fiercely protective. Her cubs, now stronger and curious, follow closely. This is the most dangerous time of all. Starving males may attack cubs. Food is still hard to find, but the bond between mother and cub is one of nature's most powerful forces. Over the next 2 years, she will teach them everything: how to walk on ice, how to swim, how to wait, how to kill. These lessons, passed from one generation to the next, are not written in DNA. They are learned, tested in wind and snow, sealed in experience. Over the next 2 years, she will teach them everything: how to walk on ice, how to swim, how to wait, how to kill. These lessons, passed from one generation to the next, are not written in DNA. They are learned, tested in wind and snow, sealed in experience. But today, the Arctic is changing. The ice melts earlier each year, forming later in the winter. The hunting season shortens. The distances between flows grow wider. Fewer seals can be caught. Cubs are born smaller, and fewer survive to adulthood. The great adapter is now facing challenges no adaptation can fully solve. Not yet. Climate change is not a theory here. It is a predator more silent than any bear. And still, the polar bear fights on each step on melting ice, a defiant echo of survival. This bear, once the symbol of northern dominance, has now become the face of fragility, a sentinel warning us of what we risk losing. But in every hunt, in every den, in every cub born into snow, there remains hope. Because the story of the polar bear is not only about adaptation, it is about resilience. And perhaps, just perhaps, if we listen, if we act, the ice may hold. The great white bear may still roam free, a ghost on the ice, ruler of a world where cold is king, and adaptation is the crown. Power, dominance, adaptability. Throughout our journey, from dense forests to towering mountains and endless, frozen realms, we have seen that bears are not merely animals. They are a force of nature. At the top of the food chain, their presence affects every other living creature. They are ecosystem architects. Their feeding behavior helps disperse seeds, control populations of other species, and cycle nutrients. The health of a bear population is often a thermometer for the health of an entire region. In their kingdom, they have virtually no natural enemies. They are kings, rulers. They appear invincible. But paradoxically, this position of power is built on an extremely fragile foundation. The kingdom of these monarchs is being invaded. Every day, forests are cleared for timber and urban expansion. Roads and pipelines cut through their territories, turning vast wilderness into isolated islands. The world of black bears and grizzlies is shrinking, pushing them into unavoidable conflicts with humans. Yet the greatest and most silent threat comes from something invisible, a warming planet. And no species feels this more acutely than the polar bear. Their entire existence depends on sea ice, a platform they use to hunt seals, move across the Arctic, and breed. But this icy kingdom is melting at an alarming rate. For the polar bear, losing the ice means losing food, losing a home. They are kings standing on a melting throne. In the vast northern forests and quiet wetlands, an ancient spirit reigns. It does not move with the ferocity of the bear, nor the bustling energy of the wolves. It moves in silence, a hulking figure, almost a ghost within its own home. This is Alces the moose, the largest member of the deer family, a true giant that can stand over 2 meters tall at the shoulder and weigh more than 700 kilograms. Its appearance may seem awkward, an odd combination of long stilt-like legs, an oversized snout, and a massive, bulky frame. But don't let that appearance fool you. This is a masterpiece of evolution, a creature perfectly designed to survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. To understand it, we must follow the rhythm of the 4 seasons, a cycle of life, death, and astonishing resilience. Spring arrives, bringing with it the promise of life. For the bulls, this is the time to cast off the burdens of the past. Their antlers, once symbols of power during the rutting season, are now useless and energy-consuming. They are shed to begin a new cycle of growth. But for the cows, spring carries a far deeper meaning. After 8 months of pregnancy, they give birth to 1 or occasionally 2 calves. This newborn moose is the embodiment of fragility. It has no means of defense and relies entirely on its mother's care. And that care is extraordinary. A mother moose is one of the most dangerous creatures in the forest. Motherly instinct transforms her usual quiet demeanor into fierce aggression. She will not hesitate to confront an entire pack of wolves or even a grizzly bear to protect her young. In these first critical weeks of life, the mother's vigilance is the calf's strongest shield. Summer is a season of abundance, but also one of torment. Millions of bloodthirsty insects are a constant plague. To find peace and a special kind of nourishment, the moose returns to where it truly belongs, the water. They are exceptional swimmers and can dive as deep as 6 meters. Their target: aquatic plants at the bottom of lakes. These plants are not only delicious, they contain an essential mineral that is lacking in terrestrial vegetation: sodium. Feeding on aquatic vegetation helps them restore nutritional balance. As autumn air turns crisp, a primal fever spreads through the forest. This is the rut, the moose mating season. The usual silence is shattered by the mournful calls of females and the defiant roars of competing males. By now, the antlers have reached their full splendor. They are more than ornaments. They are crowns, weapons, and symbols of status. Their size and symmetry speak volumes about the health and genetic quality of their bearer. Clashes are inevitable. Unlike the ritualized sparring of deer, moose battles are brutal and dangerous. A single blow can leave deep wounds or cause death. But the prize is beyond measure: the right to pass on one's genes to the next generation. For a few intense weeks, these quiet giants become the loudest warriors of the wild. After the frenzy of fall comes the deadly stillness of winter. This is the harshest test of all. Energy spent during the rut is depleted, and food is now extremely scarce. Heavy antlers are shed to conserve every precious calorie. Their long legs, once seemingly awkward, now become vital tools for survival, allowing them to move through deep snow where other animals falter. Their diet shifts to dry twigs and bark with little nutritional value. The goal is no longer growth, but endurance. Winter is also the time when predators grow bolder. A pack of wolves can bring down a fully grown moose, especially the old, the sick, or the weak. But this giant does not yield easily. A well-placed kick from its front legs can crush a wolf's skull. Its resilience and hidden strength are its last weapons in this battle for survival. Meanwhile, atop the heads of the bulls, a miracle of nature unfolds. Covered in velvet rich with blood vessels, their antlers are growing at an astonishing rate. This is one of the fastest growing tissues known in the animal kingdom. Every day, they pour energy into building a symbol of dominance, a weapon for the battles to come. As the autumn air turns crisp, a primal fever spreads throughout the forest. This is the rut, the moose mating season. The usual stillness is shattered by the mournful calls of females and the defiant roars of rival males. By now, the antlers have reached their full glory. They are not merely decorations, they are crowns, weapons, and a measure of a male's worth. Their size and symmetry speak volumes about the health and genetic quality of their bearer. Confrontations are inevitable. Unlike the ritualistic sparring of deer, moose battles are brutal and dangerous. A single clash can inflict deep wounds, even death. But the reward is priceless. The right to pass on one's genes to the next generation. During these short few weeks, the silent giants become the loudest warriors of the wild. Following the frenzy of autumn comes the deadly silence of winter. This is the harshest trial of all. Energy spent during the rut is now depleted, and food is extremely scarce. Their heavy antlers are shed to conserve every precious calorie. Their long legs, once seemingly awkward, now become vital survival tools, allowing them to wade through deep snow where other creatures falter. Their diet shifts to dry twigs and tree bark, low in nutrients. The goal now is not growth, but endurance. Winter is also the time when predators grow bolder. A pack of wolves can bring down a fully grown moose, especially those who are old, sick, or weak. But this giant does not surrender easily. A well-placed kick from its front legs can crush a wolf's skull. Its endurance and hidden strength are the final weapons in this battle for survival. The cycle begins again. Spring will return, newborn calves will take their first steps, and new antlers will rise. The silent giant of the north continues its journey, one written in the language of quiet resilience. But silence does not mean safety. Moose are now facing new threats. Climate change is increasing the spread of parasitic ticks. Invasive deer are bringing deadly brain parasites, and their habitats are steadily shrinking. Their survival now, more than ever, depends on the health of these wild northern forests. We have journeyed with the giant through a full cycle of the seasons. From the fragile rebirth of spring, the watery feasts of summer, the fierce battles of autumn, to the extraordinary endurance of a frozen winter. This journey reveals that the moose is not just an animal, it is the soul of the northern forests. Its quiet presence is a measure of the health of an entire ecosystem. But this silent guardian now faces invisible enemies, a warming climate, emerging diseases, and a world growing ever smaller. Its fate, like the fate of the forests it calls home, now rests in our hands. If we listen to its silence, we may hear nature's plea. And by protecting it, we protect the precious untouched wilds that remain on this earth. Power, dominance, adaptability. Throughout our journey from dense forests to towering peaks and endless frozen lands, we have seen that bears are not merely animals. They are a force of nature. At the top of the food chain, their presence influences every other creature. They are architects of ecosystems. Their feeding behaviors disperse seeds, control populations, and recycle nutrients. The health of a bear population is often a thermometer measuring the well-being of an entire region. In their kingdom, they have virtually no natural predators. They are kings, rulers. They seem invincible. And yet, paradoxically, this powerful position is built upon a foundation that is incredibly fragile. The kingdom of these mighty rulers is under siege. Every day, forests are cleared for timber and urban expansion. Roads and pipelines fragment their territories, turning vast wilderness into isolated islands. The world of black bears and grizzlies is shrinking, pushing them into inevitable conflict with humans. But the greatest and most silent threat comes from something invisible, a warming planet. And no species feels this more acutely than the polar bear. Their entire existence depends on sea ice used for hunting seals, for travel, and even for reproduction. But this frozen realm is melting at an alarming rate. For the polar bear, the loss of ice means the loss of food, of shelter. They are kings standing on a melting throne. And the domino effect doesn't stop there. Deep inland, rising temperatures threaten the very salmon streams that have sustained grizzlies for millennia. Warmer waters and reduced snowmelt mean fewer salmon. Nature's grandest feast is at risk of becoming a memory. And this is the ultimate paradox. Their immense strength cannot stop the ice from melting. Their sharp claws cannot regrow a forest overnight. Their fierce will to survive cannot cool the warming rivers. They are icons of wild power, yet their fate reveals a deeper truth, the fragility of all life. They show us that everything in the natural world is connected by invisible threads. When one thread breaks, the entire system trembles. These kings of the wilderness, once thought invincible, now have their fate entirely in the hands of another species. A species with the power to reshape the planet, humans. Their future survival no longer depends on their own strength, but on our wisdom and compassion. They are the guardians, the messengers from an ancient world, and their struggle is a warning to us all. On our journey, we have traveled back through time. We witnessed a world where tens of millions of bison, like a living ocean, shaped the heartbeat of an entire continent. We passed through the darkest chapter, a mass slaughter that pushed them to the brink of extinction, a tragedy written by greed and cruelty. The grasslands fell silent, leaving only the echoes of a nearly lost legacy. And then, from the ashes, we witnessed a miracle, a remarkable revival driven by a few visionary individuals. The story of the bison is an epic of loss and rediscovery, a testament that even the deepest wounds can be healed. Next, we ventured deeper into the realm of true rulers. We felt the unshakable strength of the grizzly bear, a symbol of untamed wilderness. We admired the intelligence and adaptability of the black bear, a master survivor in an ever-changing world. And we felt the urgency in the polar bear's struggle, a king watching his kingdom melt beneath his feet. The story of the bears is one of power and paradox creatures at the top of the food chain, yet utterly dependent on an ecosystem that is increasingly under threat. So, what do the stories of the bison and the bears have in common? One is a gentle grazer, the other a powerful omnivore. One thrives in herds, the other prefers solitude. The common thread that connects them and the key to understanding their future lies in a crucial ecological concept. They are keystone species. In architecture, the keystone is the central stone in an arch. It may not be the largest stone, but if removed, the entire structure collapses. In nature, keystone species play a similar role. Their presence has an outsized impact on the entire ecosystem. The bison, through grazing, wallowing, and migration, has shaped a mosaic of habitats for countless plants, insects, and birds. Bears, by transporting nutrients from rivers to forests and dispersing seeds, enrich the soil and drive the regeneration of trees. They are not just inhabitants, they are engineers, architects of their own homes. Understanding this, we realize that saving the bison or protecting the bears isn't just about preserving a single species. It's about safeguarding the integrity of an entire world. We have spoken of keystone species, the engineers who shape ecosystems. But over the past 2 centuries, a new keystone species has emerged. One whose power far exceeds that of any creature that has ever existed. That species is us Homo sapiens. Scientists call this the Anthropocene, the age of humans. A new geological epoch defined by the massive footprint we have left on the planet. If the bison slaughter was a brutal frontal assault, today's threats are more insidious, more diffuse, and perhaps even more dangerous. It is no longer the bullet of a hunter that threatens wildlife. It is the very machinery of civilization, the way we live, build, and consume. For large animals like bears or bison, freedom of movement is essential to survival. They must roam vast distances to find food, mates, and new territory. But their world is being fragmented, cut into pieces by a sprawling web of human-made barriers. This is the crisis of habitat fragmentation. Roads, fences, railways, and cities function like dams blocking the ancient currents of life that once flowed freely for millennia. Every new road built doesn't just claim a narrow strip of land, it creates an invisible wall that many species simply cannot cross. What was once a vast wilderness has become an archipelago of isolated islands of survival. And on these shrinking islands, animals face an uncertain future. The effects of fragmentation run deeper than the eye can see. They build invisible walls. When populations become isolated, they can no longer interbreed with other groups. This leads to inbreeding and a loss of genetic diversity. Genetic diversity is a species survival toolkit. It helps them adapt to disease, to changing climates. Without it, entire populations become fragile, like an army equipped with only one kind of weapon. These invisible barriers also increase the chances of conflict. When animals can't migrate, they're forced into closer contact with humans, often with tragic consequences for both sides. For many species, a highway can be more deadly than a glacier or mountain range. We have saved them from the hunter's bullet, but perhaps we are now unknowingly building invisible prisons around them. Prisons with no bars, but walls made of asphalt, concrete, and fear. So, in a world we have so profoundly reshaped, is there still a path forward for these giants? Can we heal a world we ourselves have broken? Glimmers of hope we've seen did not appear by chance. They were ignited by people. People from all walks of life, united by a shared belief that a better future is possible. We have come a long way. From the lost world of the mammoth, through the tragedy and revival of the bison, to the power and vulnerability of the bears. We have witnessed the scars humans have left on this earth. And we have also seen the sparks of hope lit by our compassion and intelligence. Now, we stand at a crossroads of destiny. These creatures, these giants of North America, are a reflection of ourselves. Their decline mirrors our mistakes and lack of foresight. But their recovery also reveals our extraordinary capacity to repair, to heal, and to create change. Their fate no longer lies in their claws or hooves. It lies in our hands, in every choice we make, every single day. From the products we buy, the leaders we elect, to the stories we tell our children about the natural world. Action is not something grand. Action is care. Action is respect. Action is realizing that we are not separate from nature, but an inseparable part of it. They are our legacy, a living legacy of a wild and free North America. They are a reminder of what we have lost and all that we still have the power to protect. Thank you for watching until the end. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to hit that like button to support me. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming adventures. What did you think about the video? Leave a comment below. Your feedback is a huge motivation for me to keep creating even better content.